the Read Along app and what their impressions are. So I'll just pause and start to play this.
In Nigeria now, even everywhere, if you're not educated, you're nothing. So I want my child to be educated. I would love that very much.
Without education, we cannot move forward. With education, we can go anywhere in this world.
Amanda is very bright, but her problem is reading. She cannot read very well.
So Tochukwu is a good boy. He's trying in terms of reading.
Since she started using this Bolo app, there's a lot of changes.
Of note, some people also call it fall in the wall.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I just confirm that all of us were able to see my screen?
Yes, we saw your screen live.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so I'll just go to the. So you may have heard the parents refer to the app as Bolo. That was the former name. That explains why you heard them say that. So what exactly is Readalong? Readalong is a speech-based reading app. It targets kids aged between 5 and 11, and it helps them to learn to read using their voices, right? I recall, so when we say 5 to 11, in some cases as well, there may be chances where some kids may read earlier than that. I remember, for instance, that I started reading when I was about age 4, right? So, but in some cases, there may be kids who may read later. Kids have different stages of development, right? So, I'll just talk a little more about that as we proceed. So when you launch the app, these are some of the screens that you will see, and I'll talk about it as we also, proceed in this presentation. Okay, so what are the features of Readalong? The first thing to mention is that many parents, may be concerned about the data usage of this app. So one of the things that was considered when this app was being developed was to ensure that it could work in an offline way. And maybe to also add to it is to say that I recall that while I was growing up, I had younger ones coming behind me, and I recall that many of the school books that I used as my were kept. My parents would often ensure that those books were properly kept and wrapped, so that when my kids were coming in lower classes, they could use those books. They didn't have to spend more money. So the Readalong app also factors that into consideration, such that it allows one phone to be used for multiple children, and they can create multiple profiles. And those multiple profiles are separate. So that means each child will have their own photo. So when they come on the app, they'll tap their photo, and then that photo loads their profile. It remembers where they stopped, and it just continues from there. The other thing to also mention is that once the books are downloaded on the app, it works offline for all the children that use that device. Secondly, it's a safe app. What does that mean? The internet can be a force for good, and it can also be a place where you have a lot of bad people as well. And in many cases, children like to explore, and that's just the natural way that children learn. They explore. So one of the things that was factored in when the app was being developed was to ensure that it did not contain any external links that that makes the children land somewhere else. It doesn't offer any advertisement at all. It doesn't collect any information that personally identifies the children. And finally, it's totally free. It's totally free. So what has been done is that Google has put a lot of resources to ensure that the books have been sourced, to ensure that they are age appropriate, and they will always remain free. So I'll just go on to the next slide. These are some numbers just to share with us. These were some numbers from a few months ago. So I expect that when we share some more details, in the coming weeks, these numbers will be updated. As at the time that these slides were put together, the Readalong app had more than 5 million users, more than 28 million stories have been read. And because it focuses on helping kids properly pronounce words, what we've also done is to measure how many words have been pronounced correctly on it. And as at the time we took the stats, more than 4 billion words have been read correctly by these more than 5 million children from around the world. Okay, so the languages, like I mentioned earlier on in the call, include Hindi, Bangla, Urdu, Telugu, Marathi, Tamil. Those are languages spoken in India. There's Spanish as well, and then there's Portuguese. Okay, I think I'll just skip this slide. So what exactly does Readalong do? It helps the children read all by themselves. Within the app, there is a large collection of stories that have been sourced from around the world. So the kids simply, with the help of their parents, get on the app, and then they can select any of those stories that they want to read. They can enjoy as they learn. One of the fantastic things about Readalong is that it actually segments the books into 4 different levels. So for many of us who have downloaded the app, you will notice that at the lower right-hand corner, on the lower right-hand bottom corner of the tiles of each story, you'll see a number, 1, 2, 3, or 4. The number 1 actually is the lowest reading level. And so if a child is just starting to learn to read, we recommend that they start with books that have the number 1 on it, right? And as they read along, the app is very intelligent to actually figure out at what time it now begins to suggest to them when they should move on to more complex books. Those more complex books simply means that in those other books, there'll be more syllables, a little, some words are a little harder in that sense. But like I will mention later on the call, in the same way that many of us learn to read with the help of a parent or an older sibling, and you know, I saw something, and this is just to joke about it. You know, I saw a tweet recently where a husband was, joking about how it's so difficult to teach his wife how to drive, right? And sometimes when you're very familiar with people, it's really quite difficult sometimes to get things across to them, and sometimes people can get impatient. So what we've done is that in the app itself, there's an assistant named Dia, and what she simply does is for as long as it takes for the kids to learn to read, she will stay with them when they encounter words that they cannot pronounce. She will actually help them pronounce it and wait for them to actually repeat. So if it takes 6 months for a child, we don't expect it will be that long, but I'm just using that as an example that if it's going to take 6 months for a child to learn how to read properly, Dia is a very patient assistant that is happy to help the child read out the words, help pronounce the words, and they just listen to the child to ensure that the child is getting better. I also mentioned that the app doesn't serve any advertisements, so you're sure that your children and the kids that you are teaching to read, will not be distracted by an advertisement inside the app. And it's also a very safe app. Security was built right into it. That means that Google is not collecting any information that can personally identify any child on the app. And like I mentioned as well, this app works completely offline. So a parent, for instance, can download the app, download the books that they want, and then disconnect from the internet. And the kids can, start to read and enjoy themselves because the app works totally offline. Okay. So this is the Readalong reading buddy that I mentioned earlier on. Her name is Dia, and that's how she looks inside the app. So just a little more. I was hoping I could at this point actually play a video for us that actually demonstrates a little bit how this how this app works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share another of my screens. I have another screen here that I'd like to share with us. So let me do the new share. Can I still confirm that everybody can still hear me?
Yes, live, we can hear you. Please, if you can
Oh,
hear
great.
live, kindly type yes in the comment section, in the chat box. Very well. Okay. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video next that actually does a demo of how the Readalong app works. So please, I don't have any popcorn right now, but just ensure that you watch the video, and then like I said, I'm happy to take any questions afterwards.
So this is a quick demo of Readalong. I'll open the story here.
Let's read. I like to read. Try to earn more stars this time. I like to read. Now your turn to read.
I like to read.
Excellent, you read very well. I can't listen when you turn off the mic.
So what happened there is I first tapped on Reading Buddy Dia. She gave me help, and then I read after her. Now I can attempt to read on my own. Who can I read to?
Excellent, you read so fast.
My sister is
Read aloud. Asleep.
asleep.
Excellent, very nice.
Can I read to?
Excellent, you read so fast.
My mother and
Read aloud. Grandmother.
grandmother are busy.
Excellent, you read very well. I can't listen when you turn off the mic.
So towards the end there, I just got a little bit of help beyond specific words that I was stuck at, but otherwise I can keep reading. So basically, Dia helps when I'm stuck, and when I read on my own, she encourages me to keep going.
Read 4 more minutes to finish 10 minutes today. Well done, you got a new prize. Prize for earning 300 stars. And you got so many stars. Wow, so many stars.
So I just got a new prize. Let's go check that out. These are all the prizes I've earned so far. 300 star one, which you just saw. There's also others like.
Read 10 minutes for 1 day.
And as you get prizes, more and more of these get unlocked. The app has a large library of stories. It also lets multiple people share the same phone. So if I tap my photo on the top right here,
tap your photo.
You can see that if I was a different user, I can tap my photos on here.
Library.
And let's say I either read a book or the app also has a bunch of games. Maybe I play this game.
Jumbled up. Choose a level for the game. Jumbled up. Drag the blocks below to spell this word. Read. R-E-A-D. Read. Correct. Spell. Can.
So that was just one word, but if I exit.
Read 9 more minutes to finish 10 minutes today. Excellent. You've got so many stars. Take your photo to save your stars.
So here I can take my photo.
Tap here to take your picture. Looks good. Tap on the green button to library.
Funny perspective, but now we can, if I go back to that same profile
tap
selector,
your photo.
You can see that's the new profile, which is 4 stars, because I just did one word so far. The other one has more stars. Importantly, we can go to the parent section, and the parent can track for each child in the household what the usage is. So as more days are used, the different history for the days is shown, the number of stars per day is also shown, so the parent can do basic monitoring of what the child's up to.
Library.
That's it. Thanks for watching.
Okay, thank you very much. Like I mentioned on the call, I understand that some people were not able to hear the audio. So what I intend to do, before I get back to my slides, just so I can quickly round up, is that I will share with your host, and I'm sure that it will find a way to share with everybody in the community. Okay, so I'll just go back to the previous slide my slides, and just give me a second while I switch back to my presentation. Okay, so that means users can actually select stories from a library that we're constantly updating, and these stories are sourced from around the world. from around the world, and all the stories will always remain free. So you can think about it as a free library that is available on the phone. So there's a chance, for instance, that sometime when during the lockdown, one of the things that resources that Google put on the app was many kids were asking, "Oh, so why can't I go to school? Why can't I see my friends?" People started taking a lot of calls using Zoom or in front of a computer, and many kids were begin to ask questions. So one of the things Google did was to put in a story there that actually explains what COVID-19 is, and some of those stories actually can be real conversation starters for parents to explain to their kids, what this is and what that is. The libraries also include books that teach values to kids about things like unity. Also, in some cases, it also helps kids understand what numbers are: one fish, two cows, three lions, four geese, those kinds of things. So I'll just move on to the next slide. So, like a personal tutor, Dia actually assists at every step of the way. So if the kids get stuck, when they tap on the word, Dia actually reads out the words to them and then waits for the child to actually read it out. Okay. In some cases as well, one of the features of the app as well is that it also uses phonics. That means that when they double tap the word, it actually breaks it down into syllables to help the child understand how the word is pronounced, and then waits for the child to repeat it. Okay, next slide would be, so as they read as well, it encourages the children by giving them stars. Those stars are virtual stars just to help them see that they're making progress. And as they make progress, those stars, can be exchanged inside the app for badges. So those badges tell them, for instance, oh, congratulations, you read 3 stories. Congratulations, you read 5 stories. Congratulations, you've gotten 10,000 stars. Congratulations, you've hit this milestone. I'm sure that many of us would also have seen during the demo that there's a parent section that I'd just like to talk about. So that means that in some cases, some parents are happy to maybe leave a phone in the house for their kids, and then they can come back every now and then and check. Because the app actually has a reporting feature that actually tells how many minutes the kids have read in the last 7 days. So you can say, maybe ask the children, for instance, oh, so I'm going to leave this phone in the house, ensure that you read at least 10 minutes a day, and then you can actually come back, grab a hold of the phone, and then see how well the kids are reading. And without much ado, that pretty much is what Readalong is. And maybe the last thing I'd just like to mention as well is I'm going to point out to us a website where we can find a whole lot more information about Readalong. So I'm going to share another of my tabs so we can take a look at it together. So here's the website. Okay. And if you see this, it says learn to read with the magic of voice. So if I come here, I can click English Africa. Okay, and of course I'm sure that this girl would be one that many of us have seen. You must have seen her in that video that I shared with us earlier on. So it basically just says, oh, okay, so this is what the Readalong product is. The website is readalong.google. So if you go to your browser and you type readalong.google, it will bring you to this page. Okay, and it says you read all by yourself. It works like a personal reading tutor, and the app assists at every step of the way. Okay, and pretty much, if you want to find out more information, you can download the press kit, and if you click on this link, it would actually take you to a link where you can actually download the app on the Play Store. And at this point, I think I will hand over to the host. Possibly, I understand that he may want to anchor for us to have questions or take questions from the audience. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. That's so I don't even know what to say. Thank you, Lai, for that very brief onboarding session given to us. Educators, teachers, you've seen Lai Wala explaining how Bolo works, its features, it's free, it's safe, and it's offline. And it's that girl, this girl you're seeing on the screen right now. I think if you watch the video, it played earlier, had difficulty learning, and I think she's now doing very fine with learning. And I believe that many other children, in short, as a matter of fact, our program director's children use Bolu a lot, and I can tell you, I still spoke with them over the weekend, and they speak good English, and they spell very well too. So thank you for the magic of the voice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So in case you have any question, please, you can type them in the comments in the chat box, and Olayola will attend to your questions if you have any. And if you would like to talk, just raise your hand, we will mute you, and you will be given the mic to talk. Thank you, Olayola, for that. So while we expect other people's questions, you talked about, you said that a Readalong works offline. And you mentioned that recently you updated a story around COVID-19 due to questions around the and how to be avoided. So if it works offline, how does one get to see such stories since it was newly added? Does it require any form of data at some point to maybe update stories or get access to some things?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So when a new story is added to the Readalong app, notifications pop up to say there's a new story. So you can basically just go to, check the app and then tap. Now, for some reason, I'm not sure about how I can share my phone screen. I mean, inside of Zoom, right? But I don't know if anybody there has, I'm not very familiar with Zoom, that's why, so my apologies. I don't know everything. So, but what I could do is, so right now I'm tapping. I don't know if you can
Tap your photo.
I don't know if you can see my screen. Okay, so, okay, yeah. So I'm going to tap, for instance, my profile.
Library. Play a game or read a story.
So now to check out the stories that I have not read, I'm going to show you one story that I've not downloaded. So let me see, I'm scrolling through. I've gone to add new stories. Okay, add new stories. So you will see that there's a green button. There's a green button at the top right for add stories. So I'm going to tap that. So I want to, for instance, read, there's a story there that says Cicada's Song. So I'm going to tap it, and you'll see how quickly it downloads. Can you still see it?
Let's read Cicada's Song.
And already, the story is already downloaded. It's that fast. Each story that you download approximately is just about 1 MB.
If you need help, tap
So
my
I can
photo.
actually go ahead and right now turn off my internet, and it still works. Right? So
read this out loud.
it's just like that. So I can say, little Cicada loved to sing.
Well done, you got that.
Okay, so it's just
nice.
that I can't share my screen right now, but I'll just encourage us, like the host has told us to, try to download the app and, and try to, experience it as well. Did I answer your question, please?
Yes, you did. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lai. You did answer my. I understand that part of it. Him or her to ask the question. Can you hear me, Lai? Okay, yeah. So okay. Adekemi Lara, your hands are up. I want to ask you to unmute yourself so I can ask your question or to Lai directly, and I believe you answer your question. So I've asked you to unmute yourself. Adekemi.
There's a question there.
In the chat box.
Yes, it says, can I use my laptop as well?
Okay, so I think you should answer.
Okay, so I think it's a great question, and I've heard of stories of people who found a way to install the app on their device, on their laptops, right? What I'm not sure of is, I don't want to be recommending tools that may crash your operating system.
Yeah.
So there's a way that in some cases Android apps can be installed on Windows computers and things like that. So if you're very tech savvy, maybe you could get like an IT support person to actually, help you figure it out. But typically, we recommend that you use an Android device, because in that case you can leave it with your children at home, and then yes. And then in the coming weeks as well, we have some exciting updates that we'll be sharing with you through the Bumi Adedayo Foundation that may also help teachers, to complement the very, very important work that they do in the classrooms. So once that information is available, we'll send it to you through the Bumi Adedayo Foundation as well.
Thank you. I think that answers. So like someone is asking, said, can I add my own story aside the one to download it?
Okay, I think that's a great question. Okay, so, well, the answer to that is typically to the best of my knowledge, what typically happens is that Google works with publishers to put books on the app. So if you're a publisher and you're willing to put your books on the app, then I am happy to have those conversations with you to let you know what Google might require of you and those kinds of things. Because typically we require, ensuring that all the legal side of things are covered, ensure that the story belongs to you, to ensure that it's an original story, and then we can talk about that. But one thing I'm also happy to say is that I can say for free that in the coming weeks as well, when you go on the app, you'll see some very familiar Nigerian stories and things like that as well. Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay. So teachers, I think that thank you so much for that response. So teachers, as many of you that can write well, you are a writer, you are a publisher. I think this is an opportunity for you to get your work out there, be on Readalong, and of course, is there any benefit for that? What do they get by publishing their works on Readalong?
Well, so what I will just simply do is I'll do like an introduction to the team that handles that, and then all those conversations can happen. Basically. So it's not something I can talk about over a call like this.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay, so someone's hand is raised up. Okay. Adekemi, please, can you ask your question now? You're muted. Adekemi, Lara.
Lara.
Okay, please go ahead and ask your question. Like and listen. Can hear you, rather.
I did not say I will ask question. I don't have question to ask.
Okay, thank you. But you raised your hand. No, don't worry. Thank you. Okay, so there's one Aduku Suzanne. You raised your hand. Would you like to ask question also? Please type yes if you would like to ask a question. Adugo Suzanne. Okay. Lai?
Yes, please.
Please, would you like to please do a demo of how they can impute the partner code? Or you'd like to do that afterwards?
No, I can do that right away if you allow me to go ahead and do that.
Sure, please.
Okay, so I expect that sometime before the end of this week, Bumi Adedayo Foundation, for instance, will share with. So let me quickly tell us what the partner code is. And so Google works with some partners around the world to help get this app into the hands of many children. So what then happens is that Google provides partner codes to those partners, right? And then based on those partner codes, each of those partner codes needs to have at least 50 devices tied to them. So what that then means is on a weekly basis, Google then provides certain kinds of information to those partners to help them understand how well the kids are reading. So things like number one, how many words were read correctly in the last 7 days? Number two, how many stories were read? And then the final question would be, how many of those devices still have the app installed? No personal information of any sort that can identify any child or any device is collected, none whatsoever. So that's what the partner code is. So I'll just quickly do a demo to explain how that is done. Okay, so let me share my screen again.
Hello, my name is Leah. I will help your children learn to read. We will now learn how to add a partner code we read alongside Google. On the home screen, tap on the menu at the top left hand. Now tap on partner code. Enter the partner code given by the NGO and click the green check button to enter. Confirm the partner code and make.
Okay, so maybe what I should say at this point is, so if for instance, the Bumi Adedayo Foundation is working with maybe 10 schools or 15 schools, they will then provide partner codes, right? And then those partner codes, when you get them and then maybe you put them in your phone or you ask the kids that you are teaching in school to put it in their phones and ask their parents for consent to put it in. What they will see when they enter your partner organization would be Bumi Adedayo Foundation, right? So what just happens afterwards is as long as there are at least 50 devices attached to that partner code, Google then shares on a weekly basis the data I mentioned earlier on. Number one, how many stories were read correctly this week? Number two, how many words were read correctly? And then number three, how many of those devices still have the app installed? So in a way, it can be used to measure the progress or the usage, so to speak, or measure the intervention that Bumi Adedayo Foundation is doing through you to the kids that you're teaching. So I'll just play the rest of the video.
Yeah.
Name of the organization shown on the screen and tap on register. Enjoy the world of stories with Read alongside Google.
Okay, thank you, Laiola, for that explanation. So, listeners, the educators, in the course of the week, we will share a partner code with you, and we'll also share the guide on how to, you could impute the partner codes. That's we can go out there. Basically, what we do is we are promoting this tool because it is adding value to our children. It is helping them learn how to read and write. So please, once we share the partner codes with you, do well to impute them. So I have a question. Sorry, I am kind of the one doing some questions there. You talked earlier, you talked about the possibility of having 2 to 3 users or accounts on the same mobile phone. So how does that work? How do they have multiple accounts on the same device? So let's say I have 3 children and I have just one device for them. So how do I ensure that A has its account, B has its account, and C has its account on the same device, and they can access Readalong and use it probably at a scheduled time?
I think it's a fantastic question. And so I once heard someone say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So what I would like to do is I would like to play a video. I think I played it earlier on, but I'd like to play it again. Maybe that will set the context for how, to do that very quickly. So if you just give me that permission, I'll just do that very quickly. Let me find that content again. Just give me a second.
So while Lai does that, please, if you have any question on how to use Readalong by Google, kindly type them in the chat box or raise your hand. I've reached out to Adugo, Susan, and Adekemi Lara, and they are obviously not having questions to ask. So please, if you have questions, just type them in the chat box. Lai will respond to them. So let's hear you.
Okay, so I'm about to play a video. So please go ahead and it will answer questions on how to add another profile for your kids. And I need to also add that there is no limit to the number of kids that you can have
Wow.
on a mobile device. So you can have so if you have 10 kids, you have maybe the cousins of your kids came to visit. So whether it's 10 kids, whether it's all of them actually can set up their profiles, and the app is intelligent enough to load the right profile as long as you tap the picture. So I'll just play the video and I'll take any questions afterwards. I'm wondering, did you notice how that person reading hesitated, and then the app realized that it was struggling and then pronounced the word? Did you notice? Okay.
Yes, we noticed, but the audio is kind of faint. But like you mentioned, we will get the video and share them with them so that they can understand how this works, and possibly we'll also ensure that we guide them on how to use the tool better.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the same video I played earlier on, and some people could hear. So let me just click on it again. Is this louder?
Read on my own.
Yes, okay, it's better now.
4 minutes
Okay.
to finish 10 minutes today. Well done, you got a new prize. Prize for earning 300 stars. And you got so many stars. Wow, so many stars.
So I just got a new prize. Let's go check that out. These are all the prizes I've earned so far. There's things like the 300 star one, which you just saw. There's also others like.
Read 10 minutes for 1 day.
And as you get the prizes, more and more of these get unlocked. The app has a large library of stories. It also lets multiple people share the same phone. So if I tap my photo on the top right here.
Tap.
Okay, so this is a part where it begins to talk about multiple people sharing the same phone. So I'll go back a few seconds.
Stories. It also lets multiple people share the same phone. So if I tap my photo on the top right here.
Tap your photo.
You can see that if I was a different user, I can tap my photos on here.
Library.
And let's say I either read a book or, the app also has a bunch of games. Maybe I play this game.
Jumbled up. Choose a level for the game. Jumbled up. Drag the blocks below to spell this word. Read. R-E-A-D. Read. Correct. Spell. Can.
So that was just one word, but if I exit.
Read 9 more minutes to finish 10 minutes today. Excellent, you got so many stars. Take your photo to save your stars.
So at this point, what he did was to read a new story, to try to play a game or to read a story. And then once you get those stars, or the child gets those stars, to save those stars, they will ask them to take a photo. So that's what he's about to do now.
So here I can take my photo.
Tap here to take your picture. Looks good. Tap on the green button to library.
funny perspective, but now we can, if I go back to that same profile
Tap your
selector,
photo.
So you can see here now that you have two profiles here now.
Profiles,
The initial profile was the one he was using, 330 stars. This is the new one he just set up that has 4 stars. So if there's a third child, he'll simply tap my photo is not here. And then he repeats the entire same process. Read a story or he plays a game, and then it will give him an opportunity to create their profile. So every time they come back to the profile, they can tap on their photo and it will load their profile and help them continue from where they stopped.
you can see that's a new profile, which is 4 stars. I just did 1 word so far. The other one has more stars. Importantly, we can go to the parent section, and the parent can track for each child in the household what the usage is. So as more days are used, the different history for those days is shown.
So what is showing here would be the report card for the kids over the last 7 days. So the parent can come on the phone and can actually check how many minutes the kids have read in the last 7 days. And then it says, oh, in the last 7 days, the kids have read for 27 minutes, the number of stars they earned, and things like that.
Stars per day is also shown.
So you'll see that the first child has read for 24 minutes, and the second child has read for only 1 minute.
And you do basic monitoring of what the child's up to.
Library.
That's it. Thanks for watching.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Lai. Thank you, Lai, for that explanation. I think it's very clear, and I believe that our teachers who are already know how to go about that, how to add multiple users, and how to use the parent section to track the children, how they use the platform, how they use the application, their stars, the minutes read. I have another question here from one Chinelo Konkwo Chukwuweke. Pardon me if I didn't pronounce that name very well. She said something. She said, please, the challenges we encounter using it is that my kids are familiar with the oral or jolophonics or jolophonic word sounds, but this is normal English. It seems to counter what they already know or get them confused or go with the computer voice type of word pronunciation. So I don't know, it's like this person, the children have a way of pronouncing, they're already familiar with the oral jolophonic sound pronunciation system, and it seems not to tally with what DIA uses to guide them. So can you explain?
Okay, thanks for that question. So the Readalong product leverages the best of Google's machine learning technology, and it's constantly improving. Now, its focus may not be people or kids who already can read, right? Its focus would be kids who are just learning to read, right? So we're constantly taking feedback from parents and users of the app, and that product is constantly being improved, right? But what I can tell you is for the phonics, it's basically would be the same way that phonics anywhere in the world would sound. What typically happens is the app actually seems to simulate the way the Nigerian voice actually sounds. So it would seem as though that it's actually a Nigerian girl helping your child learn to read, right? But it basically leverages Google's machine learning technology. And it's constantly being updated, constantly being worked on. So you can actually expect that. I can also tell you, for instance, that in March 2019, when that product, was made available to a select number of users until date, there's a whole lot of improvements that have gone into the product. So let's keep the feedback coming. I'm sure that the team at Google is constantly looking to ensure that that product gives the best of experiences to everybody that uses it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that response, Lai. So Chinelo, I believe you heard Lai that they are open to feedbacks, and that is why as much as possible. So Lai, Chinelo asked this platform to give this feedback. So how about other users who download the applications? How do they get feedback to you? How do you get their feedbacks? How do they get? Is there an email address? Is there a phone number? So how do they get across to you for feedbacks so I can continue to continuously improve on the platform?
Okay, thank you very much. So if you go to the app, so what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to locate the place on the app. Right from within the app, you can actually provide feedback. So let me confirm.
Play a game or read a story.
Now, on the, I don't know if you can see my screen.
I can
But
see your screen. Send
it says
feedback.
send feedback. So if you tap on that, it will, so that's my, so it will just load your email address and allow you type what your feedback is, and then you can send it directly to the team.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. So educators, teachers, thank you. I think you've all heard, like, we've seen the magic that Readalong can perform. We've seen the tools. We've seen that it's working. We've seen that it has come to stay, and it's helping our children learn better. So please, if you have not installed the application, I beg you, I urge you to just go to Play Store. I already shared the link to some of you who are on our WhatsApp platforms to download the application, but it's easy. It's on Play Store. It's free of charge. You can download the application. So in case if you're not on our WhatsApp platforms, I encourage you to just go to Play Store. Just type in Readalong by Google, and you see the application. You're already familiar with the logo. Download the application and begin to explore. Use it with your children. Use it with your pupils, and let's get them to learn how to read better. So I believe there's no question again. Okay, I have a message. I don't know. Okay, so I would like you all to join me to thank Laiwola. So let me see in the comment section, how do you feel? What can you say about the Readalong by Bolo based on what Lai has explained to us? So please go to your comment section. Okay, thank you, Lai, for that link. Lai just shared the link with us on where we can download the Readalong by Google. Just download it. It's free of charge. It's data friendly. So okay, Ellen Ju, thank you. Okay, Olaiwola has responded. So please type in how you feel. What can you say about the session? Use one word to explain how you feel about the session. Great job, Mr. Lai. God bless you abundantly. Okay, thank you. Very educative. Thank you, sir. That's from Florence Titilayo. From Naomi, thank you. Okay, informative, enlightened, fantastic, awesome. Thank you. Wow. Okay, thanks. Wonderful. God bless you. God bless you. Mr. Lai, you can see already that impressive, splendid. Yeah. So we can see already that our teachers are very happy to know about Readalong by Google rather, and they'll begin to download it immediately. Of course, we will stay in touch with you, and then they can also give you feedback directly as they continue to use the application. So on behalf of the foundation, program director, Mr. Femi Martins, Bochama, Mr. Kinleye, myself, and the rest of the BF team, we would like to say a very big thank you for this session, for the time spent to take us through this wonderful magic voice application. So I don't have a child yet, but I'm sure definitely going to install it. I already have it though. It's already on my mobile device, and I use it. I still use it today just to explore the wonders of the application. Thank you, Lai. Please do have a wonderful day. So for the rest of us,
thank you very much.
You're most welcome. So I'll be sharing my screen now. I'm sure you are all aware that we are on okay. So this is just to remind the rest of us that the BAF webinar series for educators continue this week. It has been I'm sure, can you see my screen? Okay, Ovigo, can you see my screen? Is it okay? So it's been 5 weeks of great exposure, great insight, great hints in the BAF webinar series for educators, and we are happy to inform you that we are already in the 6th week of the webinar series, and we have our speakers lined up already. We have Mr. Akin Alamu, and we have Mrs. Olubumi Adewakun. As you can see on my screen already, they'll be taking us on interesting topics this week. So please, I encourage you to be part of this series this Thursday, and then get equipped for the new normal. Prepare to be part of the future of teaching and learning in Nigeria. A lot of things has changed. Tech is taking over. We need new set of skills to be relevant as teachers in this time that we are. So you cannot afford to be left behind in this train, in this journey. So Mrs. Adewaku will be taking us on a session called Engaging Scaffolds that Deepen Independent Learning. So how do you help your children to learn on their own with little or no supervision? And Mr. Akialamo will be talking to us on reflection as a critical tool. As a teacher, how do you use reflection to improve yourself? How do you use reflective skills to strategize on how you can know better your skill as a teacher? So this Thursday, just next tomorrow, in fact, we'll be holding this session, and I encourage you all to be part of it. Share with your friends in the sector, share with your colleagues in your schools, if you're a school owner on this platform, please invite your staff. If you're a parent, share with other parents to be part of this session. It's been 5 weeks of great exposure. I, as an individual, have learned a lot, and I believe you have also learned a lot too. So this Thursday, we'll be doing it again. Be part of us. So once again, I want to thank you all for taking time to be part of this this session today. God bless you, and have a very wonderful and fantastic September. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm unmuting everybody to just say what they want to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a great session.
Thank you, Florence. Thank you. So
Thank you.
I'll be
See you
ending
on
the.
Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, I'll end the session now. Enjoy your September. I pray that God goes with you this September. No evil before you. You make impact. God bless.
Well done, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.